Okay, well, we've been hot this whole time for 1:47 seconds. Let me just explain why I'm doing this, okay? My company, Midwest PayPoint, it'll be March 5th this year. It'll be our first year in business. I came up with an idea while my wife was having the 7 tumors removed out of her liver down in Iowa City because John was having his golf course event in Amana. And I had done that series of podcasts that were audio on PTSD that Memorial Day before that. And then he was telling me how he's always almost running out of money. I ran over to check out the golf course thing. I was coming back and to go back and check on Chris. And all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I think I could raise money for him. So we played around with the idea and played with marketing materials. And I kind of talked to you about it last year after the event that happened in Cedar Rapids. And we finally decided to go forward with, we're giving 20% of our monthly recurring revenue to Salute to the Fallen. Mm-hmm. And it goes direct to his foundation. It's not a check through my company to his. His company is signed up as a rep. Mm-hmm. So each month, if something happens to Chris and I, it's perpetually going to go there. So that's what we're doing. And for what I like to do to bring relevance to what we're doing and awareness is to have a nice podcast where we have patriotic chicks like you, right? Right? Oh, you don't mind if I call you chicks, do you?
Not at all.
All right, I'm pretty
I'm very secure in my pronouns.
I don't know. I don't like when I get called ma'am, though.
Oh, you should never move where I'm from.
But like younger guys, when they call me ma'am, I'm like, that makes me insecure about being over 40.
It doesn't bother me at all. I actually, if somebody's rude, I ask for their mother's phone number because she'd be really disappointed.
Where are you from?
I'm from right outside Mobile, Alabama. I'm from Pensacola.
Your
Florida.
accent's really starting to come out now that you're talking about home.
It does that when I talk about home. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, when I started talking about Oklahoma, because we lived there, she was stationed there, I started getting Okie. When I start talking about upstate New York, I start getting New Yorkie, or Norky, that's what we call it. Norky. Okay.
Yeah. I'm from the part of Florida that Alabama claims. They call us L.A., Lower Alabama.
Yeah, actually, I think we drove through there. Right.
Yeah. And that's why she's an amazing cook as well.
Hey, I'll buy the alligator. We'll come on down sometime. Right?
Yep.
So I'm Kent. This is Lanae. This is April. Do you go by Lanae?
Lanae.
Okay.
Lanae. Yep.
All right. And we're just going to have a casual chat, throw some things together. We really met each other at that first Black Tie Gala. Mm-hmm. And then I missed the last one because of the ice storm and all that we were talking about earlier. So let's just go in. This is what I want to know is how did you guys meet? You know, when I met you that night, I didn't know you guys were buddies.
Mm-hmm. You and I have been Facebook friends for a very long time.
Yes, we have.
It was the first time we had ever actually met in person that I can remember.
Yeah.
How did we meet?
I know. You might not know the whole part of the story.
Uh-oh.
So it was the very first unclaimed veteran service.
Okay.
So that would have been 2018, 2019-ish. And we had 3 unclaimed veterans. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of putting it out there, hoping that people would come to the service.
Well, yeah.
And that's where I had given our folder to be proved by somebody that we know mutually that shared it with you, Mary.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, before it gets proved to go out there, I'm seeing it on Facebook that April's sharing it. And I'm like, who is this woman who's sharing my stuff? I'm going to eat her alive. I'm like texting and I'm like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be sharing this. Like, where are you getting this information from? I was so mad. I don't think I've ever told you that.
No. I was simply going to say it just feels like Lanae's always been in my life, but apparently her story is a little bit more dramatic.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
I've never been a person with patience, so
yeah, and so I was
didn't know it was a secret.
Well, yeah, it just hadn't. We were still working on it, and then so then after we figured it out, it was all good, and then pretty much friends from there. But yeah, I was mad as a hornet at first.
Really?
Notice she did not have the bravery to tell me that.
Right. Well, honestly, as much as I know about the two of you, I wouldn't want either one of you mad at me.
Oh,
okay?
We've been told that before.
That is true. That is true.
Cool. All right. So you do funeral home, that gig, right?
Yes.
You're going to be the last person to let me down, as they always say.
That is true.
That was my dad's favorite joke.
Oh, were you in that too?
I'm the daughter of a funeral director, and at one point, my siblings and I have all worked in a funeral home in some capacity.
Wow. So that joke was dead on.
it was a little old, kind of stale. But my brother started digging graves at 12. My sister works at the front desk to answer phones, and I was in the back with the bodies.
No kidding.
Yeah. Wow. It's a great way to pass nursing school at the same time.
Well, yeah. My wife's a nurse, so I get that. I took massage therapy. I went through the whole class, and I just never went and got licensed. And I loved anatomy. We had 2 nurses in the class who were just like, I want to get certified in this. They're like, this was worse than our anatomy. And I was like, really?
Easiest way to pass anatomy and physiology is to work in an ME's office.
Totally. Wow, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So,
which we didn't know that until later of the funeral home connection, but that's really worked out great to our benefit for stuff. So yeah.
Yes,
and are you both natural blondes? I'm just trying. There's so many things. That are just...
We get each other's very dark humor.
Yeah.
I got that right away when I met you guys. I was like, yeah, okay, this is going to work out.
Yeah.
See, I come from the Seinfeld generation. I'm the last year of the boomers, right before the Gen Xers, so I'm an ex-boomer. And Seinfeld was really big in the 90s when my wife and we got married in 88. And so I've developed that really dark sense of humor. I'm like, I'm just going to say it the way it is. And Seinfeld would not fly today. And the acting...
A lot of things would not
fly.
fly.
And I grew up watching Seinfeld. Like, that's what my parents always watch. And it's crazy because I'll still make Seinfeld references and nobody gets them. Like, it's just people don't watch it. It's not on anymore. So, yeah.
Wow.
Your jokes are safe with us.
Oh, good. I kind of figured it was, especially...
It takes a lot to offend us.
And I've been trying to do that for a while because I've known you longer. So I've been trying to offend you for a long time. It just never worked out.
Better luck next time.
So you've still been in the industry, right? And then you were bringing that up. What is the nonprofit thing that you do for veterans, et cetera?
So we started the Final Salute. We got our nonprofit status this last year, and it's really something that happened by accident. But what we do is we find unclaimed remains, and we give them a proper burial, whether that is a civilian, whether that's a child, or that's a veteran. So we'll go through, find out what category they should be in, and then hold services for each of those individuals.
Cool. Hey, I get her urns of one of her urns.
Oh, yes.
You can tell everybody.
So what's really unique about these urns is, so this last year we did services for 20 veterans and 5 spouses, which 25 people is a lot of people when you think about it. The top is really cool. Those got engraved.
Really, really cool.
So when we were looking, the financial aspect of 25 urns is a lot, right? And so we were trying to figure out a good way to do that. And we've also really been trying to get the younger generation involved with what we're doing. And so I reached out to the Prairie City Monroe shop class, because that's where I live, Monroe, and approached the teacher and said, hey, what's your thoughts of making a whole bunch of urns for us? And he kind of raised his eyebrow at first. He's like, let me talk to the kids, you know, to make sure they're comfortable with it.
Kind of a spooky thing.
Right.
For kids.
Right?
Some you probably had to explain what an urn was.
Right. Yeah, there's...
It's not a urinal.
Right.
I've heard some kids think, urinal.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And so I went to the school. I showed him the video of the service from the year prior, because I think it's really visual what we do. And, you get a bunch of junior and senior kids, and they're usually like, okay, whatever. They were pretty emotional about it, and they're like, absolutely, we want to do it 100%. We had a couple of different guys locally that donated all the wood, and they made all of them. And on Monday I talked to the teacher again, and they're going to do it again. They have so many students that want to help do it that they're going to not do it in class, but do a sign up to do it, because so many kids want to be a part of it, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
So the Final Salute is truly community laying these people to rest from start to finish.
Yeah.
And every step along the way.
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
we get the community involved as many ways as possible in every step, from flag bearers, people representing the families, urn carriers,
the researchers this year.
The researchers. And we have people specifically tell their stories independently, because we don't want them to just be a name.
No, that's great. We
seek out as much information as we possibly can.
Very cool.
About these men and women.
Yeah.
Because we want you to know they were people, and they should be honored in that way.
Yeah. I love that, because I lost my brother the same day I graduated from basic training in Fort Benning, Georgia. And I joined the Army Guard in the same unit he was in. so that my younger brother could see me fly off the plane with my dress greens on, and it didn't happen.
Oh, so sorry
And
to
that's
hear
how.
that.
Oh, thank you. And what you said really means a lot to me because back then, my mom and dad had a commercial grade video camera. There was video and sound of everyone else in the family but Craig.
Oh.
So if people are like, why do you have 85,000 photos and videos on your phone? Well, because.
Yep.
Right.
Because that's your lifeline.
Yes, it is, and this is the way I see life. I've been like an amateur pro, semi-pro photographer all my life. It's just the way I've been. So I take pictures, and that's my expression. That's my love language, as they say. So if somebody starts giving me crap about it, I say it's my love language. You know.
But that's, as a funeral director, I watch where these families, there's sometimes where they don't, I'm doing a driver's license for an obituary photo. Sometimes it's a mugshot, that I try and clean up and make it not look, but I take an obnoxious amount of pictures, but I know, and I watch families at the end of the day, so that's all you've got left many times. And so I see where families cling on to that, and I joke with my friends when I take a really good picture, I'm like, okay, I'm going to save that for your obituary photo. So I'll just have a little file for you because that's a great picture, however, but it's true, right? There's always going to be that day that all that's left is those photos. So to hold on to those is really important.
Cool. Well, and then I was going through my pictures last night. I was deleting a lot because I do the editing of this on my phone. And so I got to open up a lot of space. I didn't realize how many videos I was dumping. And then I saw videos of me 2 years ago. And a year ago, I lost, like I told you, I lost 36 pounds. I was down 128 pounds, 128.2 pounds. And I was just real sick because I had to take out, 1/3 of my teeth. And I was just going through those photos. And then I was like, wow, I was standing up and passing out. That's how bad I was. And I was like, wow, dude. So I'm 50 pounds heavier than I was last year. That's
Wow.
45. Okay. Anyway, I told my wife and my girls I'm getting fat.
I think you got some wiggle room.
Yeah. I think you're good. Eat a cookie.
The Danish is strong in me, not so much the German. That's what I tell everybody. Half German, half Danish. Okay, so the way you jumped in here, I know you're heavily involved in, what is it, Final Salute? Right.
Yep.
So, are you on the board now, too? I mean,
I am a catch-all.
Yes, she does
Whatever
everything.
she needs or contact I am, what's a good word that's pleasant to use?
You've been voluntold.
You're
Or
volunteer.
sometimes I volunteer myself.
Right, yeah.
And then I have to remember to tell Lanae that I've done it.
Yeah,
Cool.
That's a true statement too. But
Awesome.
She's just really, her and Simon have from the very beginning jumped in and have always been huge supporters. And then through that just became really good friends. And always whatever I call and say, hey, I need this, no matter what it is, figure it out or find somebody else who we can volunteer to do it.
It's true. Simon and I are always looking for any opportunity to talk to people, not always in Iowa.
Right.
There's tons of people in California and D.C. and Florida that also know about the Final Salute. We're always looking for opportunities to fundraise because this is completely donation.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And you just never know when you're going to find somebody that either A, needs your help, knows someone, has someone's remains and doesn't know what to do with it. You never know when you're going to come across somebody who's looking for a charity to support,
Right.
or looking for a way to give back and volunteer. So it's just a conversation we are always having.
Well, it's a real feel-good donation, too, of what you're doing. If you're donating, looking to donate, It's not like you're throwing money at something that's going away. You know what the final product's going to be. That's what I like about it. Because if I give money, there's certain things like United Way I just don't do because I don't know where the money's going to end up, right? And what I like about what you guys do is I know what the final product is.
Not just that, you know where you can go to see
Right.
the results of
Right.
where your funds have gone.
Cool. Yeah, it sounded too much like a businessman. Sorry.
Well, and one of the things, too, that has been really neat to see over the years that kind of happened by accident, it's become this great networking event as well. So when every veteran who dies gets as April was saying, a flag bearer, an urn bearer, and a flag recipient. And we choose those people very strategically from the veteran community, people that either are veterans or support veteran foundations. And so then we will, ask them, hey, will you be this person's representative? But we do the Facebook post to say who they are. And so over the years, I've gotten tons of phone calls of, hey, I'm now in this situation. I know that 2 years ago you had so-and-so who helped with this situation, or I've got a veteran who's really struggling with mental health right now. Do you know any places, that have resources for him?
Sure.
Or I have a veteran who needs a wheelchair ramp. Like, it's really
in a way,
became
we've become a hub.
Yeah.
Good.
For
Well, and I keep
people.
forgetting.
All these different
I've
ones,
thought of you
yeah.
guys before. My landing page, Salute Funding Network, that's what that is. It's supposed to be a resource page.
Mm-hmm.
I have a video of John and I talking about what we do at the top, but the rest of it's all supposed to be resources. And we're revamping it. I'm glad you brought it up because I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, that's great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry. So
So-
you guys will be up there.
So yeah,
Yes.
and it's a great way because it's not, we can't really, our help is for those veterans who have already died and have been forgotten, but in a roundabout way, we're helping multiple other veterans from just kind of creating this networking of people, and you get them all together, and that's been great. I never thought about that this part would happen, but I'm also connected still with the funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had veterans who have come in and pre-planned for themselves and asking to be part of the service because they don't have anybody, which is heartbreaking.
Yes.
But at the same time, to know that they'll get their honors.
Right.
Because otherwise they're just like, who's going to show up? Who's going to be there? And that's a part that I didn't think would happen, but has been, it kind of gets you a little bit.
Yeah,
when you
no,
start
For
thinking
men
about
and
that.
women,
Big time.
For men and women who did something neither she nor I did.
Right.
You did it. We have family that did it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't sign up to serve.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Our calling is to serve those who served.
Very cool.
And I have one brother, but my brother has many brothers and sisters.
That's
so
true.
therefore they're mine as well.
Right.
So for these men and women to walk into the funeral home and know they have no biological family, to know that there's a place to go and there will be a family for them
That's awesome.
that we've had to create.
Seriously.
And it doesn't matter that they will not be by themselves and they will not be left somewhere and they will be given what they're deserved.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's also encouraging.
I was an insurance agent for 23 years. I focused on 60 or 65 plus, kind of like that range. And 100%, I know exactly what you're talking about because I saw it all the time. I saw some very lonely people. I learned a lot about what not to do so that by the end of your life, you hope that you weren't where some of these people were. And it wasn't that it was just I saw so many different things in life. And it was what you're talking about is really important to me too. And I'll be 62 next month. And I think about this stuff a lot since I turned 60, And it's just freaky fast how just time goes. And then you start thinking about all this stuff. It's like, man. Because I know some people just don't have family, and they don't have anybody to lean on anymore. And Chris and I, we've been through hell and back. I mean, we lost our home, and we were bankrupt and everything. And I have empathy and compassion for people, civilian, military, whatever they are. And one thing I've really learned, because I kind of got disconnected from veterans and service members there for a while, was it's good to reconnect because once you've gone through that, you guys haven't, but I think you understand what I'm saying. You see it when they're around each
We
other.
see it happen a lot.
Right.
Yep.
Where it's like they can really communicate with each other and we don't get offended with each other.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're male, female, black, white, yellow, brown, whatever. Military people, we get together, you ain't going to.
And it doesn't matter what era you're
It does
from.
not.
So this last year was such a cool experience because, and you guys were gone, so you didn't get to see it, but we had every era, or not every, but we had Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and Korea War, that veteran of unclaims that we were honoring.
Really?
And we had, Howard was there, so we had a 102-year-old World War II veteran all the way down to high school kids that were there, and pretty much all in between.
Yep.
And it just was such a cool thing. I wish, to stand up there and to look at the diverse group of people that were there was just something that I wish I could, freeze in time, because there were so many different groups, and it didn't matter. You know, that's one thing I always say too, is like, nobody asked me, you know, what nationality were the veterans, what was their religious preference, were they Democrat or Republican? Like, nobody cares about that, and I feel like it's just so simple, and we need to get back to that. But it just shows just all the different dynamics. They're all here for the same reason.
Right.
We can all get behind that.
Right. And it's like when I was doing a bunch of interviews at Ruck, Iowa, up in Cedar Falls, all the ladies were coming. I ended up, I had bad interviews, my first 5 interviews. The rest of them, so I got like 80% women, 20% guys, right? And all of the women I interviewed all says, you know what? I said, so you understand it when a guy says to you, welcome to the brotherhood. Because you understand what we mean by brotherhood. We don't have to say sisterhood because you're not going to get offended. Because you're honored by us saying, welcome to it's nice to have you in the brotherhood. And they're like, yeah, I love it when guys say that to me. Because it's not like, you know, I'm not outside. I'm part of, because the military originally was male. Yep. And so they're all like, all of them are like, yeah, I never get offended when a guy says, welcome to the brotherhood. You know, because I feel like I am part of it. I said, good.
Because once you say that to a female veteran.
Right.
You're looking past their sex. You're looking past their race.
It's just...
Right. It's just who you are on the inside and the fact that you all were willing to do the exact same thing. And that was, if you have to, give your life.
And the one thing I do like about you ladies is, and I noticed this about other friends of mine that get involved as volunteers and they're civilians never served, is after a while, it's hard for me to remember that you're not veterans.
I get that a lot.
I've had multiple people ask me, you know, what branch did you serve in? And I was like, oh, no, I did not even close, you know, so don't, you know. But,
one buddy of mine, Casey, I always think he's a Marine. He's
like, yeah.
You know, yeah, he says, you know I got MS, how can I be, what?
That's because he's a funeral director.
Right. Okay, so, all right, we've got that down pat. So I want to talk about your food affair.
We could be here a long time.
Well, you talk about, I'm going to just see if I can't light it up a little bit more. I wasn't real smart on that. I got my lights over here. So you keep talking. You tell us all about your food affair.
My food affair?
So good.
I just like to cook.
Let's talk about red beans and rice.
I made that 2 days ago. Cajun sausage and dirty rice.
Oh, so good.
You know, I worked in politics for almost a decade and a half. And then I got sick. And I was forced to take some time off. And it gave me plenty of time to reevaluate life and some things that I probably should have devoted more time to, and things with my kids that I probably could have done more of. And I just decided when I got better, I wasn't going back to politics. And my grandmother taught me how to cook, and I decided that's what brings me joy. So I hug people from the inside by feeding them.
It's so good. Can you tell that I like her cooking a lot? Anytime, whenever we have a company party, she always does the catering, and I'm like, I can't even lie and pretend that I made this because the guys know I can't. I'm a pretty good cook, but not.
You lay out a mean charcuterie board.
I do that. That is true. Yes, that's because that involves just cutting and opening.
I'm gonna have to bring out my sunshades.
I'll try to. I'll move it up.
Can we get a tan from this? Because my tan has gone away.
LED. Just won't do that filter. I'm sorry.
My Mexico tan is gone. I need to go back.
Chris and I were thinking about going somewhere this year, but we just didn't do it. Had too many other things going on.
We go to Cozumel every year for a month, and it is fantastic. And next year, these guys are coming with us.
That's what I hear.
Oh, yeah. Now I can see a lot better. It was fading away there. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, all right. Are you still doing some catering and stuff?
Mm-hmm. I started my own company. I named it after my grandmother. I started it on what would have been her 99th birthday.
Wow.
And this year she would have been 102. So it's my nanny's kitchen. And every week I have a different menu and cooked meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner for clients, and deliver them. And
really?
then I also do events, yeah.
I did not know that, said Sam I am. And you've been doing that for 3 years now?
Coming up on 3 years in November, yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm just going to ask you because you looked fantastic when I walked in the room.
Thank you.
So, I'm married. I'm happily married. She is too. I'm not flirting with her. You lost a little bit of weight? What did you do?
I don't recommend cancer going that way.
Ah.
But, after I lost, like, a lot of the steroid weight.
Right.
I realized that I needed to just change habits. So I eat with the toddler spoon off a kid plate, and if I need a snack, it's all fruit. I never have sweets.
Really?
Like the things that I cook, I don't even eat myself.
Well, yeah?
Yeah. Half the things that go out the door, I have no idea how it tastes. I make the family be my taste tester.
They are good.
My problem is I'm gluten, like, I'm just sensitive to certain things. I'm not allergic or anything like that, and that's part of what was involved here when I lost all that weight last year with my teeth. So I'm the same way. I'm like, honey, if I make a crock pot or something, she gets up at 1:30 in the morning, like I told you, and it'll be cooking, and I'll have a note up on the thing, honey, will you please, because I sleep on the bottom of the house because our master bedroom is upstairs, and I don't want to get woke up at 1:30 every morning, so I'm sorry, we don't sleep in the same area all the time. So I'm like, honey, will you please check and make sure, would you put something in there? We both know how each other likes our food, so we've been together for too long. Yeah. Wow.
My husband can cook, but he knows that the kitchen is now my office.
Ah.
I don't go in his studio. He doesn't come in my office.
Right.
Until it's off hours.
Yeah,
but I also rent local VFW kitchens.
Oh, do you?
It's another way to support the veteran community.
Okay.
Because they have these big industrial kitchens that kind of sit there
Right.
throughout the week.
That's a great idea.
And it's much bigger. And none of my family or teenagers or any of their teenage friends pop in and want to know what I'm cooking and want to taste stuff.
I will say that's one of the things about working out of the house, because we were talking about that, is I try to get out of the house because sometimes you're too available for people to, and they don't realize, I'll tell them, hey, I'm working.
Yep.
And they'll come down, why isn't he answering me?
Yeah. We finally worked it out because when I'm here at home, it's primarily creating recipes or testing things out.
Sure.
But yeah, mom's accessible. So mom makes herself not accessible. And I found that I can cook faster in a different location.
Well, yeah.
So.
And you're focused, you get in your Zen moment or whatever, and you just knock it out.
I'll either throw on Cops or Judge Judy to listen to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You are a badass.
Sorry. It's something that doesn't make me sit down to watch it, but I can listen, and I don't even have to.
We're not on a public airways, so we can
both make me very grateful for my life.
Like, mine's more like death podcasts, unsolved murders. I'm always convinced that someday I'm going to listen to one and be like, I solved that. I know that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, sure.
Not yet, but working on it.
I like the ones where the guys go and they find the cars. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have seen that, where they're doing all the diving and...
Yeah, and then they find people that's
stuff.
been 17 years, and it was like 10 feet off of where they were looking before, and they looked for, and I'm like, wow, how did they do that?
Well, and
Amazing.
I have a John Doe person in my care, and so I keep thinking if I listen long enough, maybe I'll find out, like put that together.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I still think we need to take a drone out there.
I do too. We've got a
We have a situation. That we're hoping to solve. We have an Iowa mystery.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I have the remains of a deceased
young man
in my care that was cremated in the 80s. He was a John Doe when he died. They never identified him. And
no one really investigated.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so his files are missing from the state medical examiner's office. And there's just a lot of things around his passing that...
A very kind couple found his remains before they were discarded and knew that that wasn't the right thing to do, so they took care of these remains for years. And when they moved to a different state a few years ago, they placed the urns in a location that was easy to find should somebody stumble upon them with a note. And years later, somebody stumbled upon them, and they ended up in Lanae's care. And she's spoken to that couple, and one way or another, we're going to figure out who this young man is. And once we know that and he has a name, we will make sure he gets buried rightfully as well.
I didn't know we were going to run into
Is that mysterious enough for you?
This kind of freaked me out just a wee bit.
So I'll give you the...
Serious, I'm like, what?
We can tell you who's not.
Yeah. So what's crazy is, so the description of the kid is, so actually the couple that had him was actually the first responder on the scene. So he knew exactly what this person looked like. He actually thought it was a friend of his son's.
Really?
And it obviously wasn't, but he's like, it was a young man between probably 17 to 22-ish is what he was guessing. And it happened right outside of where IVC is on Interstate 80. He ran out of the median on a Monday night in October.
And during this time, it was very rural out there.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
like there was nothing.
Back then,
It was just
absolutely.
suddenly a young man running out of the woods.
That's
Yes.
wild.
And
It's like, what is this?
nothing.
Wow, that is different.
Yeah, and the person who hit him, there's nothing weird there. It was actually an older gentleman who was leaving the hospital and after his wife died. So like nothing weird about that. But his description was this young kid, right, with Caucasian, reddish brown hair, blue eyes, and was well dressed.
Yeah.
And so, and clean shaven. And so you just kind of sit there and think, like, how is somebody not missing this kid? And what the heck was he doing out there in the middle of nowhere? It's still the middle of nowhere, but way so then. And so when you start looking at missing persons reports, there's not very many.
It's like
reddish
it's almost like a
brown hair.
trafficking thing. A human trafficking thing
Yeah.
is what I fall back on. Because 80 and
That
35.
has been our suspicion.
Yeah, right. Wow. So
There's
they
only
know
like
they
two
know
or
like
three.
Caucasian or whatever hair color. They got all that down. All in the description. Wow, this is really.
There's only a few
Missing
missing people in Iowa.
from
Right.
that time.
Yeah, no, I know that. Right. Because it was in the 80s, right? You said. What year?
So
Excuse me.
It was 1987
Okay.
when this accident happened.
Yep, that's the year my brother died. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. There's also some interesting stuff about the location. With that, there's a very questionable location south of the accident area that some people have shared with me about that. But
I think I can imagine because I remember stuff was going on in the 80s back then. Yeah. Okay.
We hear that a lot too.
yeah.
Didn't know you were going to get that
Yeah.
story.
But I actually, so we sent the remains to a bone histologist.
Well,
and,
before you say that,
oh yeah.
in the remains,
They've
because
never told the story before.
we haven't. So the remains were cremated,
Yeah.
and the people in charge at that time were just going to discard them, which this first responder found out, which is how he got them. Just so happened in these cremains, one tooth remained.
Oh wow, that's lucky.
Well,
We
Ish.
thought we were really hoping it would have been more lucky,
Right.
but it had been a long time.
and through the cremation process with the high heat, it just
It's got to destroy.
yeah, and so
everything.
they were able to get a very small portion of DNA, but it was not large enough to do anything with. But yet, so that company still has it, and so hopefully someday, as technology maybe advances, maybe we'd get
Well, it's amazing what happens just in 4, 5, 6, 7 years, all the time.
And
Well,
we don't
in
need
the 80s, we didn't even have DNA testing.
No.
Yeah, and so we don't.
So it's
and
gonna
you
get
don't-
better.
You don't have to have a match because if you can just get a DNA profile with genetic genealogy, you can figure it out. And so that's our hope someday that we can give this kid a name. You know, it's like I have the reverse problem. Like there's so many missing people out
Right.
there. I have the person.
You just
I just don't know who he is.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really cool, though. I mean, it's kind of a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I like about it is this person's in good hands.
Oh yeah, he keeps me company. I
Cool.
call him Sandy.
Sandy?
Well,
Yeah.
he's got a name. We just want to know what the name was that
In
he
real
went by.
life. I was thinking Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, Sandy, I'll go
Yeah,
with
because
Sandy.
he had sandy red hair.
That makes more sense then.
Yeah.
Okay.
The couple that took care of him named
Right.
him Sandy.
Cool.
And every year they would take him outside and
He
pray.
was- yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They took care of him. They never
Yeah.
forgot about this young man. And when they moved, they knew that if they took him with them, the mystery would never be solved.
Right, so
Which
they-
is why
How did you find the...
he was left in a cemetery in a location that someone would eventually check.
In a cemetery.
Well, so Dallas County Medical.
By the way, we only have 2 mics. This is why...
So Dallas
I
County
got the
Medical
headset.
Examiner's Office reached out to me. They had found out that Dallas County actually had put cremated remains into a columbarium out at the cemetery, but there was no records of who was in there or how many urns were in there. So they reached out and said, hey, do you want to come open this? And I was like, heck yeah, I do. And so there was like 5 or 6 urns in there. 2 of them had no names, no dates, no nothing. I will probably never be able to figure out who those people are. One guy, I have a name. His name is William Day. I cannot figure out which William Day he is. Every William Day in Iowa that's ever died has been a body that's been buried, so not cremated. There was a 2-year-old child in there. There was a young woman who also died from some substance abuse issues, and then Sandy.
Wow.
So at some point, Dallas County, this is where they would put their unclaimed remains.
Yeah.
And someone, this first responder, knew that.
Yeah.
And they left Sandy in there with a note.
Wow.
And there was Sandy in the corner.
Yep.
Nobody knew Sandy had been in there.
Was it out by Adele or where?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to know the sheriff was a buddy of mine, Leonard. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. So they went in thinking there would be 5 or 6. And then at the very last minute, Lanae's like, what's this one?
And it was way in the back.
Okay.
And then
Well,
there's this note, and nobody knew what it was. And then you read the note, and you're like,
And my heart
the follow-up
just, like-
podcast is only going to be here. I'm getting exclusive rights.
And what's crazy, that was even the craziest part of that whole scenario, is we were filming the movie. So we caught it all on camera
by accident.
by
What?
accident. We just happened to be out there kind of
Get the
messing
frick
around.
out of here.
And so, yeah, and I was like, so they're filming. I was like, I don't know if we should film this because, like, what is happening right now? It was kind
in
of a
good
weird
way-
situation.
In a good way that happened because it was documented and how organic it was to be able to find Sandy.
Yeah. There's
Because
no
otherwise,
question.
because nobody expected
At least
that.
we weren't trying to break into Al Capone's safe and nothing really happened. That
Right.
was a
True.
flop.
Right. Yeah.
This
That's
is the
right.
opposite. This accidentally happened. It really was there.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Like, truly.
But,
Like, it was crazy.
You know, in researching,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of wild and crazy avenues this has taken us down.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah.
And, you know, makes you question the 80s and the things that were happening then.
Yes.
And, you know, we've talked at extent of why would that young man be running in the middle of nowhere? And how desperate was he to run straight to where cars were?
Right.
You know.
Because he wanted it from. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of questions.
There was some stuff, I know.
Well, and it's also hard too because there's no record of the crash, either with Dallas County Sheriff's Department, Dallas County Van Meter Police Department, Iowa State Patrol, which there should be because it was a fatality.
Yeah.
And everybody's been very helpful, but nobody has any records. I know for a fact that he went to the state to be autopsied because his intake form is there, but the rest of the files are gone.
Cannot be located.
Cannot
is the
be
best way to put
located.
it.
Yes.
Yep.
And so it's
and
just,
then there was the order of just get rid of the remains, and then there's people that would have information that are no longer alive, or there are people that have directly said you don't need to look into this.
Yeah, I've had that. And
What?
Yeah, I've had a few people say, just be careful what you're digging into. From back then. The other part is there was no media coverage whatsoever, which is mind-boggling to me. There was one itty-bitty little article, but there's nothing saying, hey, help us identify. And if you think of the environment then in the 80s, that here's this young kid hit and killed unidentified, that it was not all over the news, all over. And I know that for a fact because the couple that had him, so every weekend they would go to the newspapers, go to the local media, say, hey, can you help put this out? We want to help figure out who this kid is. They went to Omaha and interviewed everybody at the boys' home to see once maybe if he was,
We used to live
somebody
we
from
lived there
there.
for a while. Yeah.
And so they did a ton of legwork. So,
But no one would help
but
them.
nobody would help them. Nobody. Which is so strange. It's just a lot of red flags.
It is.
The whole
And,
scenario
you know,
is very bizarre.
When you zoom out and look at the area where he possibly was coming from, we would like to check it out because it's questionable.
Yeah.
But it doesn't appear that we will have any type of family assistance, cooperation.
Right.
Yeah. It's private property.
Very locked down.
This is a Nancy Drew type of thing.
Yes,
It
it
is.
is.
And it's crazy. I mean, and the property is so it's in a very...
It's worth a lot where it's at.
It's worth a lot where it's at. And all that's sitting on the property is an old dilapidated camper, and it has signs everywhere that says no trespassing,
Videotapes.
video surveillance, all this stuff. What's also interesting is that the property taxes on that property are paid, but the person who has now inherited, which would be the son, his property tax rate lives on south side of Des Moines, has not been paid.
He has always paid the property tax of this abandoned piece of
location.
property.
We're going to go off camera. I'm going to ask
I'm
questions.
telling you,
It's a thing.
I got a little time before I got to be anywhere in the morning. I don't care if I've been up since 1:45 today.
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Okay. All right.
But I don't want to get murdered, so that is why I don't go on that property by myself.
I wouldn't either. I'd have some backup about 100 yards away, over there, and somebody over here.
Yep.
That's
I
too-
still think we need to find somebody with a drone.
Yeah, a drone would be a really, really good idea. Yes, the right kind of drone. We
Yeah.
could do the right kind of stuff. Yeah, that's crazy.
I happen to have a kid who's a drone operator. Unfortunately, he's deployed right now.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right.
Bryce, you need to come home.
Yes.
We got things for you to do.
Really.
Well, we got way off topic here.
Well, yeah, sorry.
No, I think this is what I love about not having a planned podcast. It's like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
Well,
There
we're
you
gonna-
go.
We're going to
There's
show up and
that.
just shoot the shit.
That's welcome
I can
to
say
our
that
lives.
because I'm
That's
not
what
on
we
live
do.
radio. Sorry, ladies.
We have a lot of that to shoot.
Okay, so, right, all right. So you were a funeral director.
Yes.
In the funeral. And then, wait a minute. So what were you doing about the time that you met her? You were doing the political stuff.
So I was also working with another veteran charity
Okay.
that inadvertently crossed each other's path,
Okay.
and that's how.
Right. But you were a political
Stoolie.
something.
I used to joke I didn't
Doesn't
want
want
to.
to talk about it.
I didn't want to be the puppet. I'd rather be the puppet master.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people say,
I
"What?"
can sleep better at night. How about that?
Yeah, a lot of people say, Kent, you need to run for office. No. Well, you need to get on some election board or get on a campaign. No. I just do things the way I do.
It's a young
things.
person's game. I'll tell
Yes,
you that.
I wouldn't even want to get involved.
That's like John's always like, when are you going to do it? I was like, over my dead body, never, ever, ever. I give you permission. You can
And that means a lot coming from a funeral director.
Yes.
Over
Yeah.
her dead body.
literally do not ever let me do that. No.
When him and I, after I did that podcast series, and we started doing a lot of static displays because Iowa caucus and everybody's coming through town, so we were all over the place. And I was showing up all over the place, and we really got to know each other. And he's like, "There's just I don't know how these people did. I would never ever." In my whole time, I'm going, sounds like Brooke Bowden to me. Because Brooks, now she's in the State House now, and she helped me put to the Iowa Lime Law. I recruited her to do a lot of lobbying because they lived down here. So her and her daughter helped Steve and I.
Yep.
Steve did the main language on it. I helped him tweak it, and then I wrote, because I was in sales, I wrote all the scripts for everybody, how we were going to present it. And anyway, we got done with that. So I saw in Brooke what I see in John. It's like, yeah, right, you're good. But Brooke was the opposite. Brooke's like, you know what? We got it, that law through. She's like, Kent, I want to get involved in politics. How do I do that? I go down and talk to your county Republican Party and go for there. Next thing is she's Barrett's. Is it Garrett or Barrett? Garrett. Working for him down there. at the
Julia
Senate.
Garrett.
And then boom, she runs for office. Now she's in. But then John's doing the same, going down the same path. I'm going, yeah, John's going to do this. And all of a sudden, I'm going to run for office. I'm like, I knew
It has a tendency to suck you in.
Yeah. I'll never forget. John called me. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. What are you doing? He's like, so I made a decision. I was like, you're running for office. And he's like, how'd you know? I'm like, because I
And
know
then she
you,
says,
John. I've
you
known
need to
you
call
forever."
April. And I get a phone call.
I did.
Hey, I'm going to run for office. What
Yes,
should
you
I
did.
do? Change your mind?
And I don't think I even got the warning text off to you before he called you either.
That's John.
He was so
John don't
fast.
like texts either.
He
So
will
you send him a
call
text.
you. He will call you so fast, and I was like, "You should call April." And then I was trying, and then he called you before I got a warning
Yep.
to you. So But now look, we're all friends. It's great.
Right. It's cool. I love it. It's awesome. I was like, then he was telling me, yeah, somehow we were talking on the phone. He said, yeah, tomorrow I'll open up my bank account. And I'm like, well, I'll see you down there tomorrow. What for? I'm going to give you your first $50 for your account. Really? Yeah. So it was funny. I was just like, yeah, this is cool. Watch him do that.
Yeah.
But, okay. So what? All right. And you're married. Who are you married to? I know who you're married to.
I'm married to Sean Stovers. He has nothing to do with anything funeral related. It scares him, but he is very supportive. So
Okay. Is he in bicycle sales or something like that?
So ironically, yeah, he's in
No shit.
So he actually
Does he
runs-
piss people off too? I'm sorry.
So it's funny
I've been up for too
because
long.
he actually runs a company called the Underground Company. So people always think that it's associated, and it's not at all.
Dun,
So
dun, dun,
I have had to
dun.
call him to help me before dig a grave or to maybe move somebody. He was
And to
not
be
happy
fair,
about that.
he also helps every time we lay
Well, yeah.
veterans to rest. He makes sure that the very last overpass that we go over, there's a massive flag hanging.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Wow.
with some
right.
of his company's construction
Yeah,
equipment.
so
that's
they
awesome.
do like the huge backhoe, and we'll do it. He'll never tell me where they're going to do it on the route,
Sure.
but somewhere along the route, he always does that.
Oh,
So-
very cool.
And they help a lot with stuff. So,
Awesome.
and the company donates a lot, helps us a lot that way. So he's
Cool.
involved.
Fun.
He's another voluntold person.
Voluntold?
Yes.
He prefers to be a silent partner.
Yes.
Well, yeah. That's like everybody's like, what, where's your wife? I'm like, she's always been like a private person, but I told her
I don't know what that's like in a spouse.
What? Shocking.
People may not know. Who are you married to then?
One very lucky gentleman. My husband is Simon Conway from WHO Radio and WOIC and WMT and WFLA in Orlando.
I've had people, I go, well, he's the guy, they're like, who? I go, the guy that he for a while, he was stepped in for Rush after Rush passed away. And I go, British accent? Oh, they're like, oh, I know who you're talking about.
That's not my husband. Everybody gets them confused. I also wonder if he gets the same thing. Are you Simon Conway? No, they sound very similar. And it's very confusing when they're on together
Right.
because a lot of folks don't know what's happening or who's talking.
Wow.
But yeah, my husband's I say local, but now he does the entire state and,
Yeah,
and
right.
Florida.
Yeah.
But
He's really
yeah.
blown it
My
up.
guy just talks on the radio for a living, flaps his gums.
He's good. He's good at it. He's really down to earth,
Yeah,
too. That's what I like
he's
about
really
him.
shy.
Yeah, no, well, we know he's not. So, yeah.
He and I make a good team.
Yeah. But that's really how really our friendship grew, and also your support with Final Salute is because Simon's always been such a huge advocate for everything veteran based. And so when he found out we were doing this, he's always like, I'll put you on whenever you want. His followers are so supportive of what we do. I can't tell you how many times I'll get a message on Facebook, when we put out, a call for donations or, whatever. Hey, I heard this on Simon's show. What can I do to help you? And so that kind of helped, just that relationship, and then became friends. And
Yeah.
it's really been, and like what April said, it's really a community event. It's not, I hate when people say, oh, this is your thing, Lanae, or this is what you do. I was just crazy enough to think of it, but I could never do this by myself. And that's the great part is, there's all the veteran groups really take a lot of pride in it and being a part of it. We have a lot of different
They
kids
take
groups.
responsibility in it.
A lot of, yes.
So,
Yeah.
website is finalsalute.com.
On Facebook, yeah. So we
Facebook.
don't have the website going yet, but on,
That's in
on
progress.
Facebook,
Okay.
we're getting there. We're all volunteers, so
Yeah.
and we all have full-time jobs and work and stuff, and so that's the other part of it too. Is we're so based, volunteer based. We're getting there, but
You said it right. We're so based.
yes, we're yeah.
Which is like really cool, down to earth, hardcore, really bad.
I'm going to tell my teenager that that's what I am.
Based.
Based.
It's better than
All I
being
can think
crunchy.
is like based a turkey.
I didn't know what crunchy was until my youngest daughter said it a couple months ago. I looked at my wife and go, that's crunchy? Yeah, that's crunchy.
I just walk up behind him and go, Ohio Skibbity.
What?
Not in public. I still have no idea what it means. I just know that they
Maybe
say
look
it.
it up. I don't know what it means either.
Who
But maybe you
knows?
said
I
something
mean,
bad.
We'll look it up afterwards.
You might have to cut
might.
that from the podcast.
Hey, I'm going to do this before I forget. I always now these don't go to everybody. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys know that. Okay. I don't just give these people. Okay, so this is the coin, or this is the I can get 5 of these versus doing challenge coins because they're poker chips. And this is the support website and our iconic logo.
This is your business card.
Well, yeah, it is, but that's also the support website for the veterans.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then on the flip side, if you use your phone, here, can you just whip out your phone? I'm going to let
Do
you
the QR
show
code
them the
on it?
magic.
Yeah.
Because we're not down here yet, but we're getting down here. We're moving down here. But if you follow that, what happens is it shows you a map of all the places you can go as a consumer to use your credit card or your debit card.
Oh, yeah.
And those
Oh,
are all
look at
like
that.
restaurants, bars, home interior places where you can go and you can just swipe your card. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but you're
Well, I should
supporting.
definitely memorize all those because I will be in Cedar Rapids a lot for the next 4 years. Because I have a daughter that
Really?
just committed to Co to play basketball.
Well, yeah, and we just have a new representative that's finally, it's going to be more than just me and my son-in-law. So cool, and they happen to live right there in Cedar Rapids. So now you both got one of those. Yep. The biggest thing about them, though, is I tell you, don't give them to anybody. It's your challenge coin. The reason why is because you have the website on there. So if you find a veteran's having issues, go to that website. Okay, you guys are going to be on there too. I'm going to add you on there.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And then I had these made when I told you I came up with the idea. Chris was having the tumors removed from her liver, and I happen to have a Captain America outfit that some people have seen. And,
You love us.
and what I found is, so I called ahead and I said, hey, listen, I want to go to the Children's Hospital. A buddy of mine up in Sumner, Mark Penna, made these for me. And so there you go. These are originally
Thank
made
you.
for the Children's Hospital, and that's why they're
Thank
black
you.
and gold.
I love them.
And on the backside it says Captain Camp, and Believe in Heroes. Because when I first was doing this, it was just I fell into it. We bought our house. I thought I got a really fancy $50 Captain America outfit, and the neighbors, everybody liked it so much. And everybody was, "Will you go to a parade?" And it was Trump's first go around too. And everybody's like, "Hey,
I knew you as Captain America
did you?"
before I knew what your name was.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's how we became
And
Facebook friends.
And I lost control of that Facebook page. I can't get it back.
Oh, shoot.
But anyway, so then when I turned 58, Rocky Mountain over in Evansdale says, "Hey, Ken, I know you've been running around with the Halloween outfit. How about we get you a real outfit?" So,
Oh, nice.
You upgraded from pajamas to an actual costume.
yeah, like a $3,000 outfit. They raised a lot of money. I was so thankful. Thank you, everyone. And I tell everybody, and I have people try to hire me for birthdays. I'm like, no.
When my son comes back from deployment, do you want to meet him at the airport?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Yes, I will do that. And I'm upgrading some of the stuff on there. But anyway, so that's kind of, and this, so for me, these are really cool because my wife she was on her, every 10 years she has cancer hit her. So it was breast cancer back in 2003, then 2013 it was in her pancreas, and then 2023 it was in her liver. And she's a tank, bounces right off. She's good to go. And she was in the hospital, and what's really cool, a lot of people ask me what my biggest thing is about being Captain America. They're like, the kids must be awesome. I'm like, yes. Okay. That is what it is. It always is. It's really super duper cool. But when I affect the parent or the grandparent of the child, like when you're at the children's hospital, it's like I went into Cedar Rapids after the derecho when all the roofs were taken off all these apartments, and it was 95 degrees 7 days in a row, and we were there on the 7th day. We came with a bunch of relief. I had 200 toys to pass out, and these people were from Uganda or someplace. Half of them couldn't speak English, but they knew who Captain America was, and some of the grandmothers were crying.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was handing out toys as Captain America. Of course, I'm dripping wet.
Right.
But, that's when I realized why I enjoyed doing it. It was like really, up to that moment, it was like, yeah, it's all fun with the kids. And that moment was like, no, this is why I do it.
Because you're giving something to these kids that these grandmothers and parents can't do themselves.
They
in
saw
moment.
that, and it gave them, because I'm a parent.
That's some relief right there.
Yes.
Going, I can't do this for my own kid.
Right.
Somebody's doing it. And that's a relief, and I'm thankful. And, watching the joy from your own kid, that's a lot of
That
emotion.
kid will talk about it for a few days and
Yep.
get their mind off it. And then when Chris was in the hospital down there, what I did was, like, earlier in the year, we weren't telling everybody that she had this. We waited till the night before because we didn't want everybody worried about it. Everybody thinks I say everybody that my life is really public. No, it ain't. You don't know a lot of things because it's none of your business. But so earlier in the year, we were down there, and I dressed up, and I went to the infusion center and went to where the adults were, and then I did the same thing when Chris was actually down there. When you're going into the IV infusion place, and this person's probably going to die in the next week or so, it's so freaking cool to see what you do for them. They just have so much fun, and they light up.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Sorry.
No, I love it.
In those moments, as somebody who's been through something horrible as well, it's in those moments when somebody comes in and they take you by surprise, where you get that blessing of forgetting why you're there.
Yes.
And you're just transported. You're in an infusion chair, but you're not in an infusion chair.
Not.
There's some dude in spandex. And for a brief second, you forget, I've got this in my arm. And
I haven't done Spider-Man yet, but I do have one.
But it's that moment where you just get that brief moment of reprieve of what reality is.
Yeah.
And you forget about it.
It was so
And
cool.
that, whether you're dressed as Captain America or, somebody who once complimented brand new socks that I had.
Oh, wow.
I only had the socks because I was free. I couldn't control my own body temperature. And somebody complimented these socks. And for a brief moment, I forgot why I had the socks.
Right.
They were just cool socks.
They're just cool socks. Awesome.
Those moments are important.
Yes,
Those
they
are
are.
the moments people need to look for.
And it was all supposed to happen, so I get there, April, she's bringing me around the hospital, right? And then I'm upstairs, and this guy, this short guy, he runs the media there. I was like, dude's really short. Anyway, I'm 6'3" when I got all that stuff on. I'm really towering, But anyway, when he walks up, he says, "Hey, do you have time to go downstairs? We're doing a media shoot with one of our captains for the football games." Yeah, cool. So I get down there.
I'm going to show him what a captain really is.
Well, it just so happened this kid draws his own Marvel stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, and he was really big in Iron Man, and he just loved. Who's the guy that makes the guy who is Iron Man in the movies? Not the actor, but the character.
Are
Anyway,
you talking about Stan Lee?
no, not Stan Lee. The guy that builds everything. I'm sorry, I can't think of it right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guy that is Iron Man. His character builds all this stuff.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
He
plays the character.
I don't know. I've never seen one of the movies.
Anyway, he says he actually draws all this stuff. He's really into it. He's never gone to Comic-Con. He's always wanted to go to Comic-Con. So I go down there, and I gave him my 12th coin, right? And I walked in and surprised. It was great. It was awesome. It was really, really fun. And he's 12 years old. Right? It was on the 12th of July, and we didn't know it, but he was the 12th captain.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And it was like 12, 12, 12, 12. And his mom and I figured it out down the road, all that, because I sent him a plaque I had made of me and him meeting, and I sent him a couple coins, and a couple more just so we had them, because I had a couple other ones done up differently. Oh, I came up with these. The original ones were just all gold. And she goes, "You know what? He cried when he opened it. It meant so much to him." Right. So it was really cool. I didn't, What really sucked was I was supposed to be on the field that day when he came out as a captain. But the Hawkeye sports department decided I was one too many person. Had I known that before the game, all the cops I know that work down there, they were going to get me in anyway. But we didn't know that. It sucked.
You could have run on the field.
Right.
And people probably would have thought it was just part of the deal.
I know that's what they said. Kent, we'll just come out, we'll grab you. You just come on down. We're going to bring you in there. Nobody's going to walk up and say, "What's this dude doing out here?" Because it was Halloween weekend, too.
Right. Or, since you know all the cops, it's not like they're going to tackle you.
There was 3 of them. They're like, "We'll get you in."
Like what? They ran out of space, or like what's?
They're like, "He's just going to be one more person that we got to keep towels. We got a tight field." And the one guy's like, "It was bullshit." He's retired now. Anyway, it's funny. Okay, that was my story. All right, well, we've been on here for an hour. Well, 1 hour and 36 minutes.
We're talkers.
We're talkers. I love it.
Yeah, we didn't even.
But now you
talk
blew
about
the
half
whole
the
color
stuff we thought.
scheme.
I
And
know.
now you got red on. So now I got to find
This
some-
is coral.
Oh, coral. Is
She's
it?
wearing red.
I took my glasses off. Sorry. Well, and I hate to say this. I know I'm running out of gas because, like I said, I've been up since 1:45 this morning or 1:47, and it's going on 3:27 right now in the afternoon. But I got to go take a nap. And thank you guys so much.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
I
for
wanted my
having us.
wife to meet you guys during that last black tie event so bad because, you know, I hate the fact that I can't get Sweetness out that often because she works really crazy hours. And it's every time it's like every other time something's going on, she's working. I hate that. And I was like,
Well, there's always this coming year.
yeah. She actually went out and got a fancy dress for the first time in about 20 years, too.
Well, you just tell her to save it for next year.
Straight up.
We're having a fundraiser May 10th. You can
When
come
you
back down.
brought that up, I was thinking of that,
Come
too.
on down.
Yeah, we'd just come
Let's
down
bring
for
it.
that one.
Yeah. And it's going to be fun. It's in a really cool, it's in the old Des Moines Fire Station.
Okay.
So it's a super cool venue.
Downtown?
Yes.
Downtown Des Moines. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's been turned into a community place
Really?
you can rent. And
Cool.
yeah, it's pretty
Very
neat.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Got a really good band, and yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll be
So-
catered by Jethro's. We've got a lot of auction items.
Okay.
It'll be
Hey,
fun.
Always looking for more.
did you buy the URL so you can mask it to your Facebook page yet?
Do you see her face?
Nope.
You're talking to the wrong person.
You
Yeah.
need to go to GoDaddy.com
You should talk to
and
the
look at
technical person.
FinalSalute.com.
I have
or
people
org and net and
That
tech.
helped me because
Buy one or two. It's like $20 a year. No, $13.99. I'll give you a check.
I got money. I am not.
And then
Like,
when-
here's the
they
thing.
Can, here's the thing. If you, I'm just telling you, if you have finalsalute.com or org or whatever you're going to use,
Yeah.
is if you can have that, you can actually it'll automatically mask right over to your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Right.
I should
Yeah.
look. Because,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the thing.
Do you see the blankness on her face?
I am a funeral director. I came up with this.
Yeah.
I never thought it would turn into what
No.
it is. Ever. Like, now I had to have a lawyer and an accountant and, like,
Yeah,
do
but you-
taxes, and that's crap.
It's really cool. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was a community thing.
I was
It
just
really
trying to
came
do a
together.
good thing, and
Yeah.
now it's work.
Right. Wow.
Yep.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. It's
It
just,
is.
yeah, it's just funny because I look back at, like, the first year, and I thought maybe, like, 20 people would show up, and then it was, like, the governor showed up, and, like, 300 other people, and I was like, maybe you should do a little more planning for this.
Right. It's awesome.
So, but it's one of those things, too, is everybody's like, okay, what's the date for next year? But you have to have the veterans to do it, right? And
Yeah.
so the goal is to not do it. I mean, that's really, if we don't
Yes.
do the service, that's the ultimate win.
That would absolutely be the goal.
Oh, no.
That's a long way from now.
Yeah,
Because every funeral home
I
in
get-
the country
Has them.
has unclaimed remains.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's not,
Every single one.
it's not about that we have to do it. We just want that it's done
No,
and done correctly.
We have a vision that this can carry over to other states, and we can teach other states how to do this.
Cool. You can model it out and move it
Because
up.
if we can get what's happened here in Iowa to be done by more people overall, we are one step closer to never needing to have to do these services ourselves.
Yeah. That's the ultimate
It'd be
goal.
great to empty them all out and to make people aware.
Yes.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Slowly.
You're slowly developing. That's like John was about to get into Arkansas and Alabama. There's kind of like a corner of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas. He thought he had somebody down there, and then all of a sudden, I think he got caught up in the politics too much, and he couldn't get down there.
Yeah, but, this just goes to show, if a Civil War veteran had been sitting on a shelf for
That-
over 100 years,
That blew my mind when you said that.
I guarantee he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Right. A lot of lost
It's
souls
crazy.
floating around.
And we're in Iowa. That's the thing is like, just think about on the coasts in some of those bigger cities when you have, a larger population, the chance of there being.
We used to live right off the
It's-
Erie Canal in upstate New York. Our kids were born in Rome, New York. It's a joke, anyway. And I'm telling you,
Yankee.
yeah. And I'm telling you, yes. Okay. I mean, I earned my nickname Trout Scout because I used to backpack and fish those streams up in the Adirondacks. But where we lived, and you're living in New York, and I'm telling you, Halloween is extra spooky along the Erie Canal in upstate New York because Iroquois Indians, all these wars, and all this crap. And I'm thinking, and you just kind of brought up that memory. I'm like, how many people died out there that are
I used
there?
to-
I mean, it's just like, and my parents came up and they're like, it's really black out here at night. New York is weirdly black at night.
So
Dark.
we joke that I am related to all of Alabama, a quarter of Tennessee, and half of Georgia.
Okay. I can hear that. I can hear that.
I'm Southern through and through. So one set of my grandparents lived in Nashville. So we would always take family trips. But
Right.
I have a younger brother who was tip of the spear for Iraq. When he was a
okay.
kid, his fascination was the Civil War. I have been to every Civil War reenactment location between Pensacola, Florida, and Nashville, Tennessee, and then coming back through the Carolinas.
Man. I'll bet.
Because that was our family vacation.
Wow, man.
Because my brother was so fascinated. So we used to have this station wagon that used to have the backwards flip seat.
Yep.
And that was my spot.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have my siblings sitting next to me. Loved it.
Southern accent's coming out again.
Until you had to pee, and then you had to wait for somebody to open the trunk so you could get
Oh,
out.
that's... Yeah.
But when you're driving through there, headed to the Carolinas or Tennessee, always, I would just sit there and envision these battles happening.
Yes.
You know, as we're driving
Right.
past. Because that's what really happened.
Yeah.
And I always think about that when Simon and I go on a road trip or something. I'm thinking, you know, what happened here? What men fought and died here.
Yeah. Well, I see. I don't really. Flying is cool, but I love driving. It's my favorite thing. You know, and because I mean, we lived all over the United States because we were military, but it's just like, you know, well, did you fly out? No, because then I ain't seeing squat. If I'm driving, then I can. Oh, that looks interesting. Now, if I just want to get there, I can get there. But still, I love taking a drive. But anyway. Well, hey, I'm gonna fall asleep right on both
fair
of you
enough.
guys.
You're good.
And
We
I
can
haven't even
talk
had a
all day if
cookie
you
yet.
let
Yeah,
us.
I know. That's what I knew this was going to be awesome. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So thank you very
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
Okay?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thanks for letting me into your home. And your gorgeous rock, but you were in the picture almost. So you were gorgeous too, and so are you. She sticks her head out the window and out there taking a picture of their Freedom Rock or whatever the hell it is.
I'm
like,
the only person that has her own personal Freedom Rock.
Yeah,
in
it's
her
awesome.
yard.
I'm taking a picture of this Freedom Rock. She sticks her head out, and at the same time, I don't know she's coming out. I go, gorgeous! And then I look up, and she's going, hi. She told me you can't park in the side of the street because people get pissed off. I I kind of thought I was going to ask when I got in there, but you beat me to it. Gorgeous.
All good.
All right. Well, this is Kent Larson, Salute Funny Network with Lanae and Miss Conway April. I'm sorry. I'm tired.
All right.
I'm
It's
falling
just
asleep.
12 months. I answered all 12 of them.
I am falling asleep. So this is why we're getting off here. We love you. God bless you. You have the best day. And check out The Final Salute. And what's the name of do you got a Facebook page or something like that?
My Nanny's Kitchen.
My
Nanny's Kitchen.
Because when she was talking about South, she did this earlier. She gets that accent going. I can tell she's from the South.
And come the fall, I'll be cooking from over there because I'll be going to watching all those basketball games.
Yeah, that's true. All right, cool. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.